ladies and gentlemen and ladies, to my kings, my queens, and those of us royals who identify in between or not at all. To the lovers and haters, haters and lovers, judgers, and those who are envious of others. Welcome to another edition of Standing in Your Truth Talk Podcast, the show that focuses on the diverse panel discussions as well as highlight interviews of ordinary people doing extraordinary things with and in their lives. I'm your host, Armond Anderson Bell. I'm welcoming back. Last week had to um, cancel because my guest flaked on me, so I had a week off. But tonight I am back and excited to have my friend, film director Dolly Gray is in the building. Say hello, Dolly.
Hello, everyone, whoever's tuning in.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my Dolly. I know you probably get
Hello,
that.
Valentine.
I
Yeah,
know you probably get that all the time.
I do.
And
And
it's
then
so
hello,
funny.
Dolly.
Right, because you always say, yes, my name is Dolly Gray. Like, that's so
It
real.
is, yeah. That's why I tell people my name is Ashley, especially at Starbucks. They're like, "Your name is Dolly?" I'm like, it's my name. Like Dolly, how do you spell it? I'm like, oh my goodness. And
Really,
Starbucks means
right. It ain't
like,
an I-E, it's a Y. I
it's
got
just
you.
a Y, just a country bursty name named Dolly. My daddy named me, and I'm cool with that. Hi
Okay.
everybody, whoever's tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna get I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. We've
And I
we've been
can't.
friends for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a brief bio. I'm going to share the trailer for what we're here for tonight, which is discussing your experience in being the film director of The Industry Did It, now streaming on Amazon Prime. So y'all babies, y'all buckle your seats, get your popcorn because it is going to be a ride. It's so, I've seen it 3 times. I'm really excited to sit, and we ain't gonna talk about everything because we want y'all to head over to
Right.
Amazon Prime to stream The Industry Did It. So with that being said, Dolly Gray is an actress, director, writer, and comedian. She moved to LA with her son to pursue her entertainment career, which was acting. After a few years in the City of Angels, she landed a dream job writing for NBC. From writing, she moved to directing music videos for well-known artists such as Kendrick Lamar, Ariana Grande, Summer Walker, Meg Thee Stallion, just to name a few. Not to neglect her career as an actor, Dolly soon was booked in a few good films such as Life of a King with Cuba Gooding Jr., Straight Outta Compton, and S&M Sally. Fast forward to the present with Hollywood experience now under her belt. Dolly now has her own production company, Dolly Gray Productions LLC, with several writing projects in the making. Dolly now has her own production company with several writing projects in the making, writing herself into her dream roles and following her purpose. Dolly wishes to be one of the biggest female directors around, which you are on your way, sweetness.
I
Her
can't wait.
latest project, The Industry Did It, now streaming on Amazon Prime, is a psychological thriller that gives a small glimpse into the ins and outs of attempting to make it in the industry, along with a few twists and scary turns. So y'all forgive me because I'm going to make an attempt to share my screen so we can get this trailer on, and let's go. Let's see. Hold on. There we go. We're going to share this and then we're going to sit and talk about the movie.
Oh, I love how you do it. Is there audio? I don't have the audio. Can you hear me, Armand?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
There was no audio that whole trailer.
I know.
It's all good.
That we got. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that, y'all. This is the damn thing we did with technology. So if you watched it and you saw how wonderful it was with just the video, imagine how good it's going to be when you actually watch it on Amazon Prime. Whew. Can you hear me now, Dolly?
I can hear you. I've always heard you. I've
Well,
always heard you.
we got the trailer out the way. You know, this technology thing, me and her trying to work it out. Sometimes she wants to act right and sometimes she don't.
You're
So,
doing great though. It looks good. Everything is great.
yeah. How does it feel looking at the trailer?
At first I was like so excited and like, cause I was so overwhelmed because I sat through the editing and like, it's the most unique film to ever edit. No one will understand it unless you know film. So everybody was like, yeah, that's a difficult film. I'm like, yeah, you must know film because it was so hard. So at first I was really excited. And so finally, after like 3 months, I was able to sit back and actually see the trailer from everybody else's point of view. Like, hey, this is really good. I'm like, is it really? And I was like, I think it is. It was like really tugging emotionally and like confusing, which I like it to be like a roller coaster type vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm happy that the trailer came out. I have 2 versions, by the way.
Yeah, I saw the other one. I didn't want to give them the tatas just
I
yet.
don't give them the tatas.
You know, that's why I figured out the other one. You know, but when you see it, you'll see the other one. If you look it up, it's also on YouTube. It's also on The Industry Did It. Or you can also follow her both on her main page, Dolly Gray, as well as The Industry Did It on Instagram as well. You can also see the other trailer on YouTube, but you guys need to go see the movie itself. So, you know, make sure you bookmark it in Amazon Prime. So let's get these questions out and going. You wrote, you directed, and you starred in this film. What was the process and what in your right mind made you say, I'm going to do it?
Well, just for people that are going to tune in later whenever they catch this or whatever, but I've been in Hollywood for 9 years and I've always got typecast. I got my breast done. And then like, so everybody started casting me for all these mistress roles and like.
Oh, is that what I'm missing?
Yeah, that's what you're missing. You know
right,
what I mean?
You know, Imani has hers and she gets the parts. It's me.
I know. I'm tired of those parts. I'm like, I'm just tired of being a mistress. And I'm like, I'm not the sexy girl. I'm the home girl. I'm the cool girl. That's what I want to be. And I was like, I write. I was like, let me start writing myself in my own roles. And my son got older. And he started sending me all Omarion's videos, Rich the Kid, like all these videos of these people, Ty Dolla Signs, and I'm in lingerie, I'm in swimsuits, my booty's out, I'm getting champagne poured all over me. And my son's like, Mom, my friend saw your video. And I'm like, so from now on, I'm gonna start doing videos if I'm acting and if I'm the lead. So God opened those doors. So I started acting in all these other videos like Anderson .Paak and Neo's video, Eric Bellinger, just to name a few. So I started acting. I was like, okay, I want to do stunts now, blah, blah, blah. So then I was like, I want to get into film, but I want to write this role, but I want to get casted in bigger projects so people can see me. So I was like, I need to do a dope reel. And I was like, no, I want to do a reel because everybody has a reel. I was like, I'm going to make it good though. I was like, no, don't do it. I was like, I'm going to do a movie and I'm going to have all these personalities. Then they don't have no choices to see my acting shot. So I was like, okay, so came down to it. I wrote the movie. Which was very, it was such an emotional journey, almost depressing, because I had to lock in. I remember locking myself in my apartment. My son went away. I locked myself in my apartment, closed all the windows, and I wrote in the dark for 3 days. Read it in the light on the 4th day, went back into the dark 4 more days to read it again. And I came out and I was like, what the heck? Because I was really tapping into these characters. And it was like, it was hard. It was a process. I Google people like even Beyonce in Dreamgirls, she has to take the role of Dina, and they have to go for weeks at a time to do these acting classes and to develop this character of this person. I took on those notes and I did the same thing. And I was like, who am I kidding? This movie never gonna get picked up, and I'm just taking this too serious. I'm like, well, if you don't take it serious, dog, you will. Ain't nobody else believing you like you.
Amen.
So then I did. And I was like, okay, the script's written, I love it. Did a table read, everyone loved it. So I got some people involved. I'm like, okay, well, I got to get some money. That part.
That part.
That part. And I was like, who am I gonna ask for some money? I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, well, I got people that believe in me a little bit, so maybe I can call somebody that believe in me a little bit, see if they got some money. Oh yeah, we love the script. Cool. How much you need? Cool, we got you. Nothing. Nothing. So it wasn't the people that asked, it was the people that came forward that said, hey, I'll help you put the project together. And so I was able to use Kevin Hart's studio, and his best friend is Kevin Kwan, gave us access to everything. They all believed in the project. And I had a friend that worked in the oil industry at the time, put in some money, and he actually was my best friend's husband, or ex-husband. And I drove Lyft after all the acting things that I'd done. And people, recognize you here and there in Los Angeles, but you drive Lyft, so you're more prone to seeing people that know who you are. And that happened to me because I drove so much. Like, dang, I ain't even famous and they don't know how you say, yeah, you on that reality show. I'm like, oh no, yeah, okay. So I had to put my pride to the side. That was a sacrifice I had to make for my dream to come true. And next thing you know, I filmed it. Well, I got the money and I was like, wait, I'm gonna direct it. And I'm gonna also act in it. I was like, Tyler Perry did it. Issa Rae did it. Issa Rae did it. I could do it. If I tell you they did it, but they didn't do anything like this, where they had to do all this by themselves, basically directed with the type of continuity. A movie that's shot live is not a movie that you could keep cutting and move on to the next scene. It's a whole different ball game. And if you ain't experienced, it will be crazy.
You have to watch it a few times. You really have to watch it.
A lot of people kind of get it already, but if you really like into it, you really want to put the parts together, because I love writing, and I'm not a believer for a director to go on a platform and explain his art. Like, I don't leave any holes in anything that I do from whatever project I've written on. I just don't believe in holes. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to fill those holes. When you look at it, y'all gonna see that it's like pretty good. And there's no holes. It's all there. It's all there.
It truly is a psychological thriller. It's a little bit of comedy. It's a little bit, but you have to, I being in the industry, I like the title, and I think we had talked about it or something. So I met Dolly. I've worked with Dolly on 2 different projects. It was the second one, and it was the lesson that I got from our reconnecting that really made me grateful for my outside training, because as a person in the industry, you can have all the training, you can go to Juilliard, you can go to all these things. What they don't teach you is how to behave on set, and also how to maintain your composure so that people want to continue to work with you. I get to the set, and it was, what was that child's name that we did the music video, the last project we went on?
The last project was the YouTube movie that I was working on. I was the assistant director. That was the...
Right, and so you had cast that part, right?
I cast some of it, yes.
Right.
But I was the assistant director on that one. So
I get there, and I remembered her, but you had probably seen my name in my headshot before, and so I get there and I'm reintroducing myself, or we're just talking. And then I get there, there's a couple of other extras that I had worked on another project. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting, because I came into acting very late, very green, then I start taking, classes and stuff. But how you treat other people is always remembered. And as how big this industry is, you don't realize that you could get something and they'll see your name come across, and instantly like either they want to work with you or they don't. Yeah. I was on that set with you and 3 other people, and I'm like, that is such a blessing and an internal, gratification to know that you're somebody that people want to work with. Right. That when they see your name, they just don't throw your headshot. You won't get picked up, and you won't know that you didn't get the gig because you didn't know that. And that's happened to me a lot. So I wanted to thank you again, and we've talked about that since we met. Yeah. It's like what a blessing to be in this.
You're amazing. You're also talented too. Like you're
thank you. Who me?
Yeah, you always liven up the whole thing. You're a great energy to have on set. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So we've been keeping in contact, and I saw that she talked about it, so she sent me the trailer, and I was like, okay, cool. When it comes out.
Do you remember where we met?
I don't remember the first time.
We met at a game show run through.
That's right. It was the Hollywood Hip Hop Square.
It was the Hollywood Hip Hop Square. We met and I played Breezy and Cardi B, and you played somebody else for the game show run.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because I've done so many projects and stuff, and I worked with that particular game show run through twice. I did it
Okay.
the first time, and then I did it the second time. I think the second time, was it the actual, were we on the actual set or just in the studio?
No, we were in this room at first, and then they
Right.
moved us to the studio. They called us back for 2 days. I was
Right.
there
That
for two.
Yeah, so that's why
Yeah.
I remember. So the first time it was an actual run through. Then they actually had us on the set.
You
You
remember
know,
D. Rick Davis was there. He was there
yes, a
too.
D-Ray,
Yeah,
it was a mess. And you know me, I'm just gonna be funny. I just,
I love
whatever it
it.
was. But yeah, now I
Yeah.
remember that we
I
had a
think
good
I might be
time.
remember where we met at.
But
Because
I
I
remember
like,
the second time. That's why I just go into projects and I'm so grateful to have this experience that
right.
again, when you're authentic, you don't have to worry about, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I mistreat somebody? Because when you are who you are all the time, that leaves room for you just to be. So I am
Exactly.
so grateful, and I got that lesson from you. So back to this wonderful film, baby. When I tell you, it has a double entendre in the title because it says the industry did it, and I like that because you start off, your character is at home in Houston with her family, and she's working her way to Hollywood, and it talks about the struggle. My one of my funniest scenes. It was so funny watching the you at your first audition
Oh
because
yeah.
that
I
is
love
real.
it. Yeah.
That is real. I remember my first audition. I was so excited. I'm sitting there talking to everybody. Shh. I'm sitting there like, okay,
I guess I'm loud. Okay,
right. I
sorry.
was just excited. And I remember going, and every time I got an audition, I put it on Facebook. Oh, I'm at audition. I'm at audition. And to my friends who were veterans was like, you're going to get tired of that because you're going to have to account for, or when someone says, did you get it? And you have to say no or something like that. So that was a lesson that I learned really quick, is that you do it and you go on about your business. If you sit and focus and think, oh, did I get it? Did I not get it? You'll drive yourself crazy. So I really like that part. I also like the family dynamic that you had, and your transition to coming into Hollywood, your character's transition, rather.
Right, right, right.
Um, and transition is a word that I'm going to use very lightly for everything that went on in the movie. And I encourage you all to check it out. It is such a good, it gives so many layers. So in the different
Ooh.
layers in your film, how does that mirror your own personal journey?
So, of course, I wrote the story with things that, from experience from other people. Like I look at Skid Row, right? And I'm like, dang, these people were probably once chasing their dreams and moved here, never went back home, whatever. So I just like, baby, they're like sick. And to be, what this show is called Standing in Your Truth, I had some mental issues before I moved to LA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I should get into it, but I was on medication. I've been to the psych ward. I was pretty, I used to try to kill people, including myself. It was just like, I used to just want to do it, and I wasn't in a bad mood. I just was like, get out of my way. If I don't have a problem killing myself, I'll kill you too. Even if you don't, it was just weird. It was just like, it was demons. I had to pray them out of me. I came to find out it was demons. Come to find it, whatever. Moved to LA. I wanted to change all that because I had ended up overdosing on some medicine. Went to the psych ward. When I got out, they gave me the same medicine that I overdosed on. So I said, these people don't. Was with a fiance, had a dream. I'm a dreamer. I dream everything. Basically, God told me to leave him. I came here, and me and my son, probably not even $600, and the rent was, what. And I just stopped taking medicine, started going to church. And I was like, I really wasn't okay to come out here. I just cold turkey. You could cold turkey, maybe stop drinking, smoking weed or something like that. But to get off your medication that these people hooked you on and told you that you needed is a big deal. And people don't understand. Like I really don't like taking medicine and pills to this day because it kind of brings me back to where I was taking medicine and
It triggers you.
Yeah, it triggers. I never was addicted because I didn't like how it made me feel, but they told me I needed it, and I thought if I didn't take it, I was gonna go crazy and go back to the psych ward, lose my son. So it's just like I don't like taking pills, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I was like, I'm in Hollywood, I'm really not okay, or what if I wasn't okay? So that I thought about that while I was writing the script. And every story's been told before is how you tell it. everybody has a story. Oh, moved to Hollywood, pursued the dreams, and it didn't go good. Then all of a sudden there was triumph. Nah, that movie ended like it ended, and that was real for a lot of people. People moved to LA with all kind of mental illnesses, and their family tries to warn them, or they just stray away and they go and they're not okay, and they end up like the people on Skid Row are going crazy because they didn't get this part because they already had mental issues. So I was like, because a lot of people aren't okay, even if it's like not so severe to where you have to take medication, but even going through stuff like a breakup or raising a kid and don't have much food to put on the table, that can trigger you to go into something you felt before, if you never experienced that before, while you're trying to pursue your career. So that was relevant to a lot of people. And I read the comments and views and people that I reposted, and a lot of people were able to relate, and they asked me, was that real? Was that your story? And I'm like, actually, that was everybody's story in one.
Right. That's what I connected with it, on that level of trying to pursue your dream. Also, my truth is, I have mental health issues, suffer from major depression. I've also, become a practitioner of mental health services on the peer level. So once I figured out what was going on, then I took it to the next level and became a peer advocate as well as a rehab specialist. And so that again is layering, the name of this show, and I say it almost every episode because it's so true, that standing as your truth is what I'm doing at 42. And by me having the show is allowing other people to do that. And so for me, it's a step process, is altering your narrative. So you saw the narrative of someone who is an African-American woman with a child. All these adjectives that can describe you also can hurt you. And then you go to embracing that journey, which you did in this film, as well as the character in the film. So you're doing it both in real life and on film. And the end result is changing your life because you're taking it back in control into what you see, whether that's on film or in real life. And your character did the same thing too. And so I connected with that, knowing so many people. I also like the aspect of you having the social media component in it, which again, your character is driven by social media, everything, and that is what the age that we live in. So everything, we're always going live, we're always looking to get instant gratification from our so-called followers or viewers. We don't never see, or these people don't let us see the real and the outside of what happens when you don't have someone following you, or you get a negative comment, or you're not able to be authentically you because they have put a perception on you, or you've given them a perception. So now you have to continue to run with that. And your character goes through that on so many different levels.
Well, and another reason why I decided to do social media, because it is relevant to the times right now. Everybody lives social media. They're used to looking through their eye to believe things that they want to believe and perceive things they want to perceive. It was inspired also by, I love horror films. I studied it. I'm working on a horror film right now. I'm directing. I love horror. I can watch horror every day. I just love horror and suspense thriller. But it was inspired by, the rawness was inspired by Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch Project. So I wanted the movie to make you feel weird and feel a different way. Like when you watch my movie, I want you to stop watching and be like, oh, damn, I feel weird. Because I look at my movies like, if it's not a roller coaster ride, excuse me, y'all, I'm missing a nail. It's not a roller coaster
Ain't nobody noticed that because I did.
I'm like, damn. If it's not a roller coaster ride, then it's not interesting. People just probably want to get off in the middle of the ride. It's one of those movies like it gradually goes into, but there's clues and signs in every scene, and I just wanted to make it real and raw. It's not a movie that I could click, cut, and paste over here. It was a very difficult movie to shoot.
Right.
Very
difficult. And we're personally and professionally, but then also, like I was telling you, I love thrillers and I love, suspense. And for me, a good movie is where I cannot, if after 30 minutes to 45 minutes, if I don't get the plot line, if I don't get what's going on, and I'm stumped at the end, that's a good movie to me, because there's so many movies that are done that you're like, oh, okay, I figured out what this character is going through, but you don't get it because there's so many twists and turns. And again, I've watched it 3 times and we still talking about, the Easter eggs and the clues and things like that. And so there are things that I didn't get on the second time that I didn't get on the first. And there's things that I got on the third time that I didn't get on the second, even
Right.
after you're telling me these
You're
things.
like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's a roller. I love it. It's a roller coaster ride.
But that's good writing, Dolly. And I'm not just saying this because you're my friend, because you're on my show. I told you when I text you, I was like, I'm slapping you in the face because this was it. This was it. I really thoroughly enjoyed. Like I was like, huh? And then I was like, oh. I'm telling you, I apologize for me and the technology. You couldn't hear the trailer, but it is on my Facebook page. Go see it. Go look it up on YouTube. How did that affect what you're doing personally now? Now that this is out the way, now that you birthed this baby, what are some of the things going on?
Let me tell you, after I did that movie, I feel like I could do anything. It was so hard. It was so hard. I had to fire people. I actually had to shoot it twice because people were trying to make it. People were trying. I don't mean to get off the subject. I do have ADHD, guys, kind of a little bit, but people were trying to make it so modernized and make it so crystal clear with all the cameras and equipment uses. I said, no, it has to be raw. All the skipping and the freezing, all that was into the edit, like so that it could feel real and feel raw. It had to feel like social media, so people could feel like. I had some people tell me when they saw the end of the movie, like, "Oh my God, Dolly, we can see you." I forgot that it was a movie because I thought it was social media still. So that's what I wanted. You know what I mean? But some people got it. I don't know if you watched All American. Do you watch that show?
No, it's on the CW, right?
It's on a CW. There's a character on there. His name is Preach. He's a really good friend of mine. Oh, well, he plays Preach, but his name is Kareem. And he was like, "I got an opportunity for you." And I was like, "Okay." So he saw the movie. And he called some business partners immediately or whoever he was dealing with at the time and said, "Hey, it's a go. We should sign it. We should sign it." So him watching the movie, I had signed an international movie deal because they loved it that much. So it's about to get released. And I don't know if it's going to be on Netflix. I was supposed to know this month, but it was delayed. But next month, I'll know if it's going to be on Netflix. Wow. But that's not their deal. It's the international deal that he hooked me up with. So I was like, and then, you have people that you casted and they didn't get the part. So they'll go, which I love all, reviews because it still brings the ratings up. Even if you put this movie sucks ass, like it's going to bring the ratings up. So I don't really care. I did like 2 reality shows and I don't care what nobody
Which ones? I didn't know that.
Oh my God. I've been in for a while. I did Real Chance of Love too. Do you remember that show?
I remember.
Real Chance.
Okay.
And I also did Match Made in Heaven on WeTV like 6 years ago.
Oh,
so I've been through the whole negative thing, and I'm the type of person, all press is good press, negative too. I love it. So I'm like the wrong person to try to upset when you try to say something because I've done reality TV. So it's like my thing's pretty tough. So yeah, so the people that are supposed to get casted, so you can see the personal comments on there, and people that really didn't get it and like, it's fine. Somebody said this movie made me really uncomfortable. I was like, well, great, that makes me feel good. It was supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. Right. You're supposed to be comfortable watching it. So I love stuff like that. And now my personal life, so I'm writing some more stuff right now, working on some more shows. My son is in the industry as well. He just booked a Foot Locker ad. He's in a feature. He just did some stuff for Marshmallow, the main lead acting role on there. So keeping my son busy and working. And I don't know, I've been single 9 years and I just got into a relationship. So I'm trying to adjust because I'm not used to people trying to include their opinions on what I should do and how I should do it to make me better. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? But it's all good because I need it because I'm just so headstrong, right? I need it. So I feel you know what I mean? So that's great. So I'm enjoying that and adjusting to that. So I don't know. That's how, in my personal life, people DM me and say, after seeing one of those things, they DM me and say some inappropriate things. It's like, say what you want to say. Go keep watching it. You're going to keep bringing the views up and that's more money in our pocket. So go watch it again.
Right. And go back and see. That's what I'm trying to get there in life, to take the negative, to take the hits, because again, I'm doing this show. My guests flaked on me, talking about they weren't feeling well. Then I go look on their IG story and they in Culver City. And I'm sitting there like, okay. And so I took it personal and I'm working on that. I've been offered reality TV and I've said no, because I don't think my mental and my emotional can handle it.
I wasn't ready.
How was it for you?
I wasn't ready. I was 21 when I got casted for Real Chance of Love 2. Got on the show. My name was Lady on the show, so now we like a lot of people know the show. I don't know, you probably just didn't care about it, but it was a pretty big hit. So I got kicked off after 6 weeks. Cool. I was just there. They actually hired me in the house just to be the crazy person, not to fight. Even though I did end up getting into a fight, but not to fight, but just to like, initiate everything and like girl and like be the party person and like the fun person, Some people didn't like the spotlight that I was getting, but I ended up getting into a fight. And because of my personality, of course, people think what they think. But when it's time to go, you just go. And then I got kicked off and got home. The show aired a month later. Got on the show, people saying all this stuff. Because I had Twitter at the time. I think I also had MySpace. Maybe not MySpace. I might be pushing it. But I had Twitter at the time. And people were saying all this stuff and tweet like, yeah, like, you got some big ass teeth. And why did they cast you? You're not interested. Just something that didn't have nothing to do with
keyboard gangsters.
And I was like, oh my God, I was dealing with insecurity issues too. I was with my son and I got kicked off. I didn't know I was gonna get, they'll tell you they plan on kicking you off. I started producing reality shows, so I know how it works now. But right. I didn't know. I was like, they kicked me off the show. They were done with me because they knew who was gonna win and why, and they should get the next show. You know how I used to go back in the day. So I'm already feeling some kind of way. I'm like, I did all this for y'all, but y'all call me in these rooms and y'all say, hey, go do this, and I'm doing it, and y'all send me home. So I'm like, okay. So I'm sad, I'm at home. So, and then also there's no phones allowed. You can't talk to any family. That's when they were really strict. So I had this type of, I don't know what kind of syndrome you have when you're locked in a space with just girls and just cameras. I was scared to go to the restroom at home because I felt cameras were there. Everywhere you go, like everyone had their own personal big ass camera, and that big ass camera came with a cameraman who came with another dude that was pushing the car. So you are getting followed around this big ass mansion with this sport, So when I got home, I was like going through. I had PTSD. That's why they offered to everybody see a psychiatrist before they leave. I'm like, no, I'm good. Well, anyway, people were saying,
I know they do mental, and emotional tests before. They also offer, wow.
After they offer you a psychiatrist.
That's interesting. That's because again, I know behind the scenes on how, that's why I've not said yes to reality and the shows. I don't want to be a caricature, but then I'm thinking, but then I'm an actor. And so I'm like a Rubik's Cube, honey. You're going to see whatever side you're going to see. You can get 5 people in the room and they're going to tell you 5 different stories about me. They all are true, but they're not all of who I am. They're just some of who I am. And that's what I'm trying to put together.
Well, I'm glad you didn't do it just to get just for a side note, because if you're trying to be an actor, which you are, a phenomenal actor, I love your personality or your, I don't know how to say, I love your, I don't know how you.
What, my drag persona?
I love all of it. I love all your characters. I do. Whoever you are, those people, I think it's very entertaining. But the thing is, you can act with that person or those people and go far. Reality TV shows, you don't, as a reality star, you don't get respected in the industry. That's why you don't see anything reality on my platform. I would never have gotten cast in any of these major films, which I got casted in Bright with Will Smith, even though they cut my part, but I was there and they asked if I did reality show and I said no. There was nothing for them to Google. So you don't get respected in the film industry. You're not going to be at the Oscars as a reality star. And that's what I want to do. It's fine. It's just 2 different careers.
Right. Like, I don't you have to know these things in advance. And again, I'm grateful to have had people in my corner who kind of gave me an idea. Like it was the drag role on a web series that got me started once I was Taff Hartley, because I was so green, baby. He said, oh, I'm going to Taff Hartley, everybody. I said, well, who was Taff?
And we got Taff Hartley at that show, too.
That was my 3rd one. Remember, I was telling you they had yeah. So I'm a must join. My next gig, they already own me because, baby, I ain't got that 35,000, honey. So, I mean, 3,500. No, I'm 3,500. I'm sorry. It's 3,500. But I was Taff Hartley in 2010 for a web series. I didn't know anything. And I'm sitting there like, well, who was Taff and who was Hartley? So I saw that door open. And again, I'm consulting all my friends who are actors, and they're telling me I've already been taught and kind of groomed by my grandfather and other people in my life, even before being an actor. How you treat people is the most important thing. You can treat somebody, you can see somebody, you don't know if they're sweeping the floor or the head CEO. But if you're constantly who you are, then you have no problem saying, oh, was I mean? Was I this? Was I that? Because they'll remember that. Again, I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about us doing the hip hop squares. And then when I was on set with you, again, there were the other extra girls. I had worked with them on other projects. And I'm like, that is such an affirmation to what, because my head, I overthink. I was like, okay, this, but that's something that you can't learn in any acting school.
Right.
Is
Well, you know what? For you, just to give you your props and your accolade, I think that, yeah, you have the right idea. You got to be nice and treat people nice, but you are also talented. It's a lot of nice people on set because they just think they want to be nice but you're great on set and you're nice and you have this big energy, but you're also talented too. So I don't want people to think, oh, if I'm nice on set, y'all, there's more to it than this man is talented. It ain't just like, oh, it's so cool, everybody, I'm going to get casted.
Right.
Like,
Well, see, there's a difference than being fake and then genuine. Like, even, you never know who's watching you, even because there is a lot of downtime. There's a lot of times for what you see on film, whether it's a music video or a movie, there's a lot of downtime. So how you're behaving, how you're treating other people. The last shot, we was sitting there at Venice Beach, a lot of downtime. Let me offer you a chair. Let's go have a good time. Let's kiki. I had my fan because, I carried my fan with me everywhere that I go. So it's just who you are. It's just, so those are good things to learn for anybody, but then also just life lessons. In pursuing your dream, you have to, Facts of Life, the song, that's one of my favorite shows, but you have to take the good and you have to take the bad. But how do you balance that all out, Dolly?
If it wasn't for the Lord, hallelujah.
Okay.
There's more layers to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am a person who's worked in the industry and worked my behind off because I was not willing to take shortcuts. So what I didn't mention was I never had a manager. I never had an agent. So it's kind of like being unprotected in the industry, not having a daddy or a parent. And that's tough because you are in the situation where you went on auditions for a month straight. Nobody's casting you. You finally are in front of, this person let me see somebody I never met, Denzel. Now you're in front of Denzel, and he's like, hey, I got a part for you. And he's like, really? Like, yeah, but you got to go audition with my homeboys, or that's the casting director. Then you go, and he tries to sleep with you. You're like, but I've been rejected all week. This has to be it. He knows Denzel. He could get me in there. If you don't realize how many women have been in a position and has not been on film,
and men,
you will fall under. And that works the same. So it's like having tough skin, right? So it's me. I never settled because God always showed up. I've always taken pride in me never having to take shortcuts. So as sexy as I could be, I don't show my booty on Instagram. Maybe I take a couple of sexy pics, but I'm the homegirl for real. And when dudes realize that, they get so much more cool than me. The girls get less intimidated. Like, she's cool. Like, I'm not the enemy. It makes life easier, but you have to, when and where do you prove it? You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't get a chance to when you think that opportunity to sleep with somebody to be famous is right there. What do? Be patient and wait on God. If not, there's consequences in your decisions. There's consequences in temptation. Like, you know what I mean? So I take pride in saying I never took any shortcuts, and I believe that is the result of longevity in the industry, and that's what I want. You cannot have nobody right now to tune into your show and say, I had sex with Dolly because to get this role. Or I had sex. Now, I'm not saying I didn't date no celebrities. Everybody knows the celebrities I dated, but we were dating. And they never provided me opportunities. I casted them. So I love that. And I have a son in the industry, so he sees how a woman can be and how she should be. You know what I mean? When it comes to stuff like this, like, you just have to believe yourself. Keep going. You have to keep praying because it does get hard. But we never been short for rent, food, and that's how you know you're just moving in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
It's my favorite principle is discernment.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly asking the Lord for discernment, but then also let me be a vessel so that you can show through me. And it's not a braggadocious, and it's not a just, because when you know who you are and you know whom you belong to, no matter what you do, personal, professional, or wherever you show up in whatever room it is, they may know something's different about you, but they may not be able to put their finger on it, but they know, oh, okay, that person is blessed. That person,
Right.
it just shines through in your conversation, in the way you talk, in the way I always tell people, the way you treat yourself, it shows, so that people don't treat you that same way. And if they do after all that, then that's on them. But you've done your job by showing up and being authentic and respecting yourself, because it's a lot of that going on. It's a lot of that people are looking for that 15 minutes and that instant gratification. And that literally and figuratively can be the death of somebody.
Yes.
And your
Yes.
character goes through that. Your character goes through that. And again,
Yeah.
that's what I picked up on, and that's what I saw, of knowing people and having opportunities. And you think that you've missed an opportunity, but you don't realize that that was your blessing, because it wasn't for you.
Listen, let me tell you a story. Let me just, speaking in your truth, let me tell you a story. Through all my trials and tribulations, let me tell you, God is so faithful. He has always sustained me.
Mhm.
So even when it was bad, like when we were homeless, me and my son were living in, or we kind of were homeless, but we were living in the Beverly Hills, the Sofitel. We were living in a Sofitel hotel
Oh,
in
Miss
Beverly Hills.
Sofitel.
And we stayed there for 2 months. Like, we homeless, but we living in the Sofitel. Like, you know what I mean? But so he was like, had his hoverboard, had his robe, going around the hallways, and he was steps. He was like, we homeless, son, but we ain't got no kitchen, but we homeless in Beverly Hills at the Sofitel. So anyway, so let me tell you. So before that happened, I want to say 2014. I think you know how it is when you work in the industry. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks for the job to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it takes a month if it's like net 30 or whatever. And it was all like, it so happened that all the jobs that I have worked that month and the month prior, all of them were taking so long to pay me. And I'm like, I have to pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gotta pay rent. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And then my apartment was in my apartment was in someone else's name. So I was like, I gotta pay the rent. I have to pay the rent because this person's credit is gonna be, horrible. Actually, it's my girlfriend's now. Like, my girlfriend that I have now, she was like, you got bad credit. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hook you up. But I was like, I cannot not pay the rent. We worked together at the time, we were just best friends. And she was like, I gotta pay the rent. I gotta pay the rent, whatever. Because I didn't tell her, you know what I mean? But I remember going on Craigslist. So the joke that I made in the beginning of my movie, I remember going on Craigslist, and I was like, I was gonna go do a job on Craigslist. He wanted me to give him a massage naked, but it was topless, and he was in a nursing home. So that part I made up, the nursing home part. But I remember going on Craigslist. This dude wanted me to give him a massage topless. He was gonna pay me, I think, only $150. My rent was $1,100, right? But it was like, you know what I'm saying? It's a start to whatever check gonna come in. I can add to that and try to, you know what I mean? I didn't have any savings because LA was too expensive, and I was a single parent living in Hollywood. I lived in North Hollywood. So if I tell you, I booked the job with the guy, I sent him pictures, in a I don't know if it was a swimsuit or lingerie. Anyway, I sent him pictures, so he was like, cool. Still didn't send him my breasts, whatever. He just wanted to see what my whole frame was like. He's like, oh yeah, so come over and can you whatever. It was so gross, but I needed this money. So I was gonna go, and if I tell you, Armand, I took a shower, I shaved my legs, I shaved under my arms, I put lotion on. I found the same lingerie because I couldn't find my top. I found the same lingerie that I was gonna go that I took pictures in. I was like, okay, I found it because he liked this one. I was like, Dolly, just take a shot, you'll be fine. He said he had alcohol. I'm like, cool. If I tell you, I was beginning to twist that doorknob, and somebody called me and said they were in town and they needed a place to stay. They just landed, their hotel canceled. Can they pay me $500 to stay there? I said, yes. They said, actually, I probably need to stay for like a couple of weeks. I'll give you extra. Baby. Right? Then went to go check the mailbox. 3 of my checks was in there. When I got home, guess who was blowing up my phone?
Them jobs.
Billy, the sex person from the thing.
Oh.
I said, Billy, I'm sorry, God came through.
Right,
Billy,
he had a bigger client list than you, darling. I'm sorry.
Billy, Buck, Billy, God came through. I'm gonna have to call you back. Because when he stepped in, I shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of the rest. And I said, I'm so protected. I am so protected out here. I was like, this is where I need to be.
On top of that discernment, you have to be willing, and it's not always, because there's so much. You see Craigslist, you see everybody trying to vie for this instant gratification, and it can really fuck with your self-esteem. It can make you do things that you don't want to do. You have to have that conversation with whatever the higher power is of your understanding, and be open and willing to listen to it. A lot of times I'm more spiritual than religious. So I read the Bible and I know the Bible, but I couldn't quote scriptures or whatever. My higher power sends me messages that I know will get to me, whether it's in a television, whether it's through a message in a friend, but I also ask to be open so I can hear those things. That is my prayer every day in the morning, is to be vulnerable, to be open, so that I can hear or feel what you're trying to tell me and the way that you're trying to move me, whether it's connecting me or reconnecting me with people that I need to be with and around, whether it's just knowing who I am as an artist. Because again, there's so many different things that they try to deter you from. And it has no has no respect of person, no gender, no age, or anything like that. There's people out here hustling. There are people, one of my good friends, and who is on Ruthless, who I did improv with in Lamert Park. I talked with her. She's an older woman, and I remember just listening to the life lessons that she would tell me and say, it's going to happen when it's your time. If we try to force it, then it's not going to be right, and you're going to feel it. Something don't feel right. This gig, it can look cute on paper, because that's what it does. That's what people are. They're transparent. They're, oh, this looks nice on paper, let me get you. But if you feel something in your spirit, someone says, oh, I want you to do a gig. What I've learned, baby, I need that receipt. Don't tell me what you expect of me. Write it down. I need my deposit up front. No matter how close they are of a friend to you, because this happened to me. It recently just happened where I had to bring in my receipts and said, okay, sweetie, you promised me X on this amount. Your non-refundable deposit is not coming back to you because you didn't follow through. And as an entertainer, I refuse to give you my intellectual property without being properly compensated. So therefore, I cannot do this. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
And have a blessed day. And you know what your friends hate? They hate when you give them a contract, your own friends. I'm like, hey, if you don't want us to fall out, you care about friendship, we're going to sign it.
Right. Don't tell me, oh, no, baby, verbal. Okay, so since you said verbal, and that's what I told this person, you verbally told me on this date, this is what I'm going to get. And I asked you, because again, I've been there. Lesson learned, experience gained. And when you say, especially as an entertainer, as a drag entertainer or a performer, I need to know verbatim what you expect of me and how much I'm going to get paid. Don't tell me, oh, we'll work on it later on. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you anything. I'm not giving you my intellectual property. And your intellectual property is anything that you have to do with, whether that's your name, your likeness, you're willing to do a speech, any of that. If that is not all laid out, then it's a no-go. And again, if you get that tinge, I can tell you full of mess, but I'm going to play along with you. Until you show your full card. Right. Because baby, I already know what cards we playing, but I'm going to play along. Okay.
Yeah.
How were some of the lessons you first learned when you got out here?
Oh man. The lessons I learned was working jobs, and they said we're gonna pay you later, and there was no paperwork. I didn't know. Like, oh, we pay you. So there was no invoice, so me getting these jobs, and I'm like, okay, later on down the line, which these projects never really blew up, but later on down the line, I'm like, I didn't sign a talent release. So you can't use my likeness in this film. You can't use it in this video or whatever like that. So I wanted to go back and find these projects, but they never did really anything. But I'm looking for my face because I remember what I signed and what I didn't. You know what I mean? That, and also I learned that doing business with friends, like I was saying earlier, you have to really put your mind out of, you have to really play two roles. You're my friend, but now you're also my business partner. So yeah, we're at work right now and we're building. We're trying to brainstorm on a new product or project. You don't talk to me any kind of way right now. We ain't calling each other certain names. We ain't homegirls. We ain't boys. We ain't friends. We getting this money right now. Mm-hmm. Right after we done it, we happy with what we did for the day. Now we're gonna go smoke hookah, turn up, smack a couple on the booty. We go to big, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because people don't understand, when I'm telling them I'm working, I'm a Leo. So when I'm working, I have a vision. I already have ADHD, and I don't know if people can tell I keep moving. I'm like, I'm over here drinking. I'm like, yeah, like it's hard for me to sit still. But I see, I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, when I'm
lessons
like,
learned.
Yeah, lessons learned. Yeah, but when I'm tunnel vision, like I'm just a whole different person. Like even on set, I'm a director, and I also first AD. And I also, even working with Neo, I first AD his Good Man video. I also, let's just say it's a male dominated industry. Like, you know what I mean? So I have to be the aggressor on set because I worked with Kendrick Lamar. I did the Humble video. There were over 50 men. I was over all of those men.
Go in. Go in.
So Dave Myers was the director on that one. I was the assistant director. Jamar was the first director. The first assistant, I was the second. So I had to, kind of like what I did with y'all in the YouTube movie. So I was over all these men. So Kendrick Lamar's homeboys, which are really in the game, all came to set. So you know how the crew has to eat first? The crew didn't eat first. All his homeboys start coming to the thing, and they're like, Dolly, go get your talent. I'm like, these thugs, they got guns, they got grills, they can come. Like, you want me to go get them? I'm like, but I'm from Texas. I'm from California. And I was like, oh shit. So I went and I was like, hey guys, this food is for the crew. And then I was like, you guys can't eat this. I think you guys just came in. This is for people who's been here since 6 a.m. in the morning, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's all right, little mama. We got money. They start pulling out you know what I mean? We all.
But that's not the point, right?
That's not the point. But we all end up being so cool. So the lesson I learned from that is like, you know, me being like this dominant force on set, because I'm a woman, I have to show my aggressive side, which is fine. I'm very aggressive. And I know when to turn it down too, but you don't know. You have to learn how you talk to people. Because if I would have, like, hey, y'all trying to prove a point to Dave Myers and whoever else and Jamar that I can run a set with all these men, I go, hey, y'all, because people do that. They show out on set because they abuse their power. Y'all, this is not your food. Don't touch it. I need all the cats to step back. Lunchtime for you is this time, and lunchtime for you is this time. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't handle it like that because I wanted to be, but it's the way that I did it. So it was a lesson learned, and I built a lot of relationships from that. Now, I almost got jumped on Chris Brown's set, but you have to feed crew after talent after 6 hours, right?
Right.
And he still wanted to get his shot. So I had to tell all these women they couldn't eat yet. So I'm like, hey guys, you can't eat yet. Chris wants to get this last shot. We're still da-da-da. I'm like, Chris Brown almost got me jumped by like 20 girls. I would never forget that. And they was like, we gon' eat. We gon' eat. So they start coming around me, grabbing food, blah, 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 blah. Then the person that was working under me was like, okay, ladies, I guess you guys can eat. And I'm like, see, I can't do that either because these are females. It's versus the men probably would have said, I can get my homegirls come beat your ass, or I'm gonna handle you, or you're a girl, I'm not gonna touch you. But the girls they were hungry. It's
a long process. You remember I came to you because that person was talking to us out the side of their neck about them signs. Yeah. And I said, Dolly, you know,
you handle yourself well though.
Well, again, it's come from experience. Because trust me, I was on the Pharrell video. And I got hired for one gig. I got hired for one part. They wrapped me. I'm out the door, foot in the gate, getting ready to go to the bus stop. They called me back and they said, oh, we got another part. Can you do this other part? So I'm like, okay, cool. Did the video. And I'm in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. I was already wrapped. I said, well, can you, and I didn't even try to go hard. I was like, well, can you at least make this a wardrobe bump? You know, because that was a whole different part. I was wrapped. My foot was in the gate, getting ready to go to the bus stop right at the door. He said, oh, well, we're not going to. I said, oh, okay. So I called my rep. I'm on the phone with her and going over everything, letting her know. He comes out just yelling at me, food coming out of his mouth. It landed on me. And I went from queen to hood. I was like, nigga, I know you didn't. And I was like, I blacked out. And the other AD was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, he took my paper, he signed it. He said, I'll make sure. Like the dude was like, he was on 5, not on 1, not on 2, but on 5. So I've learned that, and I learned that they will try you. You know, they will treat you. I worked on another project. They called me at the last minute. Oh, I said, well, I don't have a car. They got an Uber for me, sent me to the studio. The wardrobe they didn't need, so I had to go back home, get wardrobe. Mind you, this was over at CBS, so you know, right by the Grove. So I'm right down the street. So brought the wardrobe back. You always bring options. The guy who was in the same part as me was my size, so he didn't have wardrobe, so he got my wardrobe. We did the thing. They said, okay, next day we'll call you for, you know, come in. I'm like, call time is what they said, we'll give you the call time. Something didn't feel right, but I said, okay. I'm waiting for them to call time. Oh, you know, I called and said, oh, well, we decided we're not going to use you. I said, okay, well, can I come get my wardrobe? Oh, we'll mail it to you. I'm like, I live down the street. They wanted to mail me my wardrobe. After the day before, they needed me, so they had me drove back home. All this stuff made me just feel grand. And then the next day said they're not going to use me, but they want to mail me my wardrobe. So I'm like, that's okay. I'll come and get it. I get there. The security guard, he's like, you know, mind you know me, I'm joking. I'll meet everybody. He's like, I'm sorry, man, I can't let you up. I'm like, wow, in less than 24 hours. That again was another lesson in how the industry did it. And how it will make you feel so valuable, and then in an instant you're of no use. So how do you take those lessons, not personally, and understand it's the industry, but then also we have all this unspoken
But listen,
rule.
Armond, we need you because sometimes people need to be checked in the industry though. They need to be checked. These people crazy. It's not even, it's these people crazy. They need to be checked. Even as talent checking, you might say, like, you know, ruin a future job, but I have to go off on some people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, little sweet Dolly had to go off on some people.
We have to change this narrative. And again, anybody starting or anybody, because that irritates me. Even I'll just use that as a life lesson. When I hear Black folks say, oh, well, that's how Black folks are. That's why I am so big on altering my narrative, because you can't tell me there's a time once you hit an 18, you are an adult. So what somebody said, like, I hate when people say, oh, well, you know, Black folks don't swim. No, babe, because I'm a little mermaid. So why don't you take that and take your narrative and say, I don't know how to swim. That's okay. See, I had to lock mine up, honey, because I'll show you my precious another time, honey. I love to get on camera. But how do we begin to change our narratives? And I love, and that's what my next step is, Dolly, is you don't have a part for me? That's fine. I know I'm talented enough to do it for myself. And that way you bitches can't say not a mumbling word.
Not a thing. I was just telling someone, I was just, okay. It's when you create your own opportunities, you don't have to worry about what people have to say if or not they're gonna catch you. Because when you're a boss in the industry, you create your own opportunities and people want to work with you because they respect what you do and they think you're talented and they think you can work well together to help their dreams and y'all dreams come true. So it's like, I just really don't want to be that person who have to hide things about myself just to get casted. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Or some stuff, yeah, I get. But like hiding, like if you're married, or if you have a relationship, because I'm a girl in the industry. So some people only want to work with me thinking they have a chance, which has gotten me a lot of jobs. I'm not going to lie. Like people think they're going to be with me and date me and they gave me all these opportunities. Like, you know what I mean? But nothing happened. But imagine if they thought I was in a relationship, they probably wouldn't. Right. You know what I mean? But I just want to be in a position to where I don't have to hide anything. As much as I've done, it's probably still going to be some huge opportunities that I'm probably not going to get because people feel like they can't get close to me, which is going to keep happening. But if I continue to stand in my truth and believe God for what he's going to do and whatever God has for me, stand a firm believer in that, then I will be okay. And that's how I have to keep, because some people they fail to realize that they don't think they're thinking like this, like, oh, I don't want to miss out on the next big thing. I don't want to, but it wasn't for you anyway. But the one after that was, but you messed it up. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you just have to see all this. And I looked at the people around me, the girls that came to me crying, got the trains ran on them. They accidentally turned into cokeheads because they were at Jamie Foxx's party or whatever. And I've been to all these parties with all the drugs. It was a choice. It was a choice for you. I didn't do it. So it was a choice. You know, I understand you're weak. And if you know you're weak, don't go back to the party.
Mm. I always get a lot of flack because I personally, again, there are people who are predators, but there are
Yeah.
also people who need to be accountable for being preyed on. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who came up with the Me Too, it was, but they knew, like, you, even if you're not in the industry, you knew ain't nothing going on in nobody's hotel room at 2 o'clock in the morning but some sucking and fucking. So why
You
put
know that.
yourself in that situation? Be accountable for you being in situations that you know you should not have been in. And even if you are, stand and say, baby, this is not for me. But a
As an
lot of people,
adult,
oh, that again, that's what adulting is, saying, okay, I've seen everything. Baby, I've been in the dressing rooms with girls who are on the RuPaul show. Well, I remember one day, I swear to God, I'm so green. We sitting there getting dressed, and everybody said, "Does anybody got a key? Does anybody got a key?" I'm thinking these bitches need to open up something or rev something. When I tell you this bitch took a bump off my key, and I'm sitting there like
are you serious?
dead serious. And I'm
She's not
sitting there
even
like, is
gonna
this
ask
what
if she can
goes
put
on
some crack
around
on your
here?
key.
Huh?
She's not even gonna ask if she can put crack on your key. She's gonna grab the key, put some crack on it.
And just politely gave it right back to me. And I'm sitting there like, okay.
Well, you could have offered me some, but I don't do it, and you don't take.
Baby, first of all, I'm a Pepsi drinker, so I wouldn't.
Right, you
I
could have offered
wouldn't,
me a
I
Pepsi.
wouldn't have gotten no Coke. But I'm just saying, and it reminded me, like, is this like I didn't even start drinking. I was very cautious of even drinking cocktails until I was in the clubs performing because we got them free at the. But I know my limits. I know, first of all, I'm already cautious that I'm a big black man in West Hollywood, whether I have a wig on or not. So I'm already being double looked at.
Right,
Also, the minute I do something, it's going, and it's like you feel the pressure because you're looked at, because all, mind you, there was not many, and still to this day, not many black drag queens in West Hollywood. It's like there not many black people in the industry now. So
right.
I have all this on me, also being new. If I have a choice, I'm out the door at 1:30. Anybody who I've ever gone to the club with, whether I'm working or in drag, at 2 o'clock, baby, that's the bewitching hour. Don't nothing
Mhm.
happen at that time but trouble. So, baby, I'm
But
on the bus.
brother,
I'm gone. I don't need to see. And then you could tell me what happened while they was fighting in front of the police station on San Vicente and Santa Monica at 2 o'clock in the morning. But you know what this dog was? In my bed.
in my bed, I
You
love
you
my
have to
food.
you have to make those choices and then be accountable. Be accountable and be earnest with yourself. Don't sit there and try to fake the front if that's not who you are, if that's not you. But then when it happens, don't sit there and want to act surprised and blame everybody else. If you knew downstairs was where they was doing the bumps at, then but you have yourself upstairs, if not around the corner.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but
it's just the industry not for everybody, man. And some people come out here and they just they go under. And I just thank God I didn't, because I had my resume proves
mhm.
that I should have went under. My life experiences prove that I should have went under. And God said no. You know what I mean? I've been kept, man, and people could say they went to the higher power, their chakras, whatever kept them, everybody into their crystals and like whatever it was, like it's still God. There's still someone that, that your steps are ordered by somebody that favors you, and be grateful, and I'm still going. I'm not saying that I'm going to be strong here on out because I don't know what's going to happen, but as far as I know, God's going to sustain me because that's been proven. Like, I'm going to go through stuff, like, but God
But
has,
that's life.
yeah.
In order to embrace your journey, because again, we talked about it. I've been in the hospital twice. I've been homeless. I've been on people's couches and stuff like that. Now at 42, I realize that some of those things saved me because I look at some of
Exactly.
my friends at 42 and I'm like, baby, they not here. Or if they are my age, or I see people who are 24 that look like they 62 for whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
So this good fat has been maintained all my life. So
Yay! Talk about it.
that's what you get to the point in life. It's like, baby, because
Yeah.
even in the midst of all that I've gone through, I still was. Baby, I've seen everything under the sun, downtown Skid Row, Fifth and San Pedro. I was there for 2.5 years. And I knew that it was temporary and not on my own doing. And I don't even want to get into the story of a so-called friend who, ended up being there. But again, it went from, oh, this person did this to me, to now I'm at the place in life where it's like, okay, maybe I allowed something to go through because of codependency and people pleasing. I should have been a little bit more adapt to know that they were users. But again, users are fully not users because they see something in that person. So whatever I was going through at that time in life gave them the inclination that it was okay for me to be used, not excusing them. So it's
Right.
like, okay, lesson learned, experience gained. Not today. And again, we as people have this bad habit of haphazardly saying, oh, well, hurt people hurt other people. And I want to change that narrative, if not for myself or other people. Hurt people hurt other people because they want to. Because if you've been hurt, if you've been taken advantage of, if you've been
How I
used,
feel.
you would want, not like just talking to somebody on set. Okay, Dolly, you've been AD, you've been principal, you've been background, you've been them all. And just like I have, and I know in those times you treat people and talk to people the same. One, because the way the industry works, you never know. One gig, you can be the background, you can be the extra. Then how you are as the principal, and that it's known, like people are watching you.
They're watching you. The industry's so small. Everybody watches you. People are like, oh, you're such and such. Oh, you're such and such. I worked with you on such and such. I'm like, damn. People watch you.
Because I didn't. I got that message that day. I really, and I've held that. I'm like, wow. And I thank myself, and I also thank my higher power for just me being me. The same me that was told, oh, you'll never be anything because you're gay, because you're black. All those things that have worked against me. I know I played off really well, honey. But all those things that people who have a problem with you and your personality, don't take those small voices as who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Take who you are and know who you are. Again, stand in your truth. If it wasn't for me being a feminine, overweight, black gay boy from South Central LA, there would be no Imani Phoenix. And Imani Phoenix had brought me to doors I never would have thought that I'd walk through in
I didn't know
flats
you
or
were
in
from South
high heels.
Central.
Baby, yes, I'm from Athens Park, honey. Athens Park.
Oh, it's real.
Yes. It's again, I have friends who I've known for over 20 and 30 years. They will tell you, baby, I've always been pretty much the same. I've just expanded who I am. But I've always been, a nice, caring person with all that. And this ain't even talking about the personal shit that I've been through. So that's a whole different journey that's going to be later on in my book called Purposely on Purpose. So
I like that.
Thank you.
I want to speak on something to help the people. I don't know what time it is. Oh, because we
Yeah,
got.
I know you got to take. Yeah, we got about 15 more minutes. Okay.
I'm fine. I just want to speak on something that will help the people. Because if you believe in what I believe, I feel like God carried me through this whole journey because I allowed him. When I say I allowed God, it's because I allowed myself to believe what he was doing and had my faith. Sometimes God tries to do things and we don't allow him to do it because we're not obedient. Mm-hmm. So I allowed God to do what he was going to do and speak to my faith, right? But sometimes I was like, well, God, what are you doing now? I don't know where I'm at. And you just hear nothing. Mm-hmm. You hear nothing. And a lot of people that know me know I'm a dreamer. I have eyes tattooed everywhere. I dream everything. I tell people about themselves. Probably should be a prophetess or a psychic, but not. But they're like, how do you hear God? How do you hear God? And I have to think about it. I was like, that's crazy. You asked me that because sometimes I don't hear God. And I'm like, why don't I hear God? Let me pay attention to the time where I don't hear God, and I don't, because I'm lost. I need to know like what to do. I need to know like where to go. Like, and these are our most vulnerable times that can change our lives. Like, you know what I mean? And can cause death or anything else. We have to always be able to hear him or know where we have to be to hear him and know when God speaks. Like, it's because my heart really needs him this time because I really went through something. Why did I hear him that time and I didn't hear him this time? Well, when you think of a cell phone, and you're talking on the phone and then you go into a tunnel, it's a bad area, so you really don't have signal, right? So what happens then? You have to go to a certain spot to get signal so that you can hear the person on the other end. So sometimes when we are in a bad place, we can't hear God because we're so cluttered by everything around us and all this radiation, these energies, and we can't hear God. And sometimes, like, so I'm encouraging everybody, if you're lost right now and trying to pursue your dreams and you're so discouraged and you're like, God, what do I do? I want to do this. I got so many talents. Go to a quiet place. Talk to him and be calm and be still. I was going to think of the scripture, but I can't. But be calm and be still. And then you'll begin to hear God, because that's where I realized I hear God when I'm quiet and I'm still. You know, not when I'm going through stuff and I'm crying, I'm emotional, because everything takes over from the spiritual being and what God's trying to connect, because we still have flesh. Like, you know what I mean? It's only so much the spirit can go, and the flesh can go without hearing the spirit because it's the flesh. You know, because somebody can touch you and you'll, before, if you hear someone's voice and someone touch you, you're going to react to the touch first because we're still human first. The voice will come second. You know what I mean? You're talking to me and then somebody touch me, I'm going to turn. Like, you know, so you have to go to a quiet place and just get, you know, even if it's not like, I'm not talking about even sometimes like just in the closet where there's no noise, but just calm down until you figure out what's going on. Get to a safe place where you're not panicking, where it's quiet and you're not stressed and you're just like, okay, God, I'm still, what do you want me to do again? And I promise you he'll speak. And that's what I want to just tell people. That helped me a lot.
Right. It's imperative to have your own personal relationship with the higher power of your understanding.
Of your understanding, yeah.
Because there are people who say, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm a God, I believe in God. And yet, you know, so that's all fine and dandy. I know that I talk to my God of my understanding the same way I talk to you, the same way I talk to everybody. And in that, I've asked him to help me see the messages and feel them. And again, I'm not in Bibles and things like that. So if the message comes from the television, or if a message comes, I was doing something the other day. I just started a new therapy. I'm so excited. I have a new, and I've always wanted a gay Black therapist. And I have one for 12 sessions.
You have one? Wait, you said what?
I have one for 12 sessions. So I'm excited. You know, my last therapist was a Black man, which I was so excited. But now I have someone who mirrors me. And I went in saying, listen, you going to hear me talk to you like I talk. So I need you as a sounding board. That's what I need for you. I'm so I'm excited. This whole journey. I don't know if you know, but I had a whole other podcast with a different theme. I had a co-host and everything. It didn't work out. A lot of stuff. I made a post in 2020 about Kobe. It happened at his death, but it was more about how we view people when they pass versus the celebrity. Baby, people took it and they made so many negative comments on my page, even, you know, and so I had to take that. And so I stopped that show. And I was getting ready to go do an interview, and I swear to you, I was in there and I was shaving, and something said, "Stand in your truth." And I said, "Huh?" And so I was like, "Oh, okay." Standing in your truth. I said, "That's what I want this show to be." And so when 2020 came, again, I didn't know what to do. I was in the studio doing my podcast.
Right.
I said, "How am I going to keep myself sane and continue to work on my creative leg?" So this show is, again, for myself, but then also gives other people the opportunity, because everyone, they have podcasts and they saw, oh, you have to look a certain way and you have to do this. Baby, I'm not caring about all that. I come and I ask questions that are not being asked, that talk to the soul, the spirit, and we encourage. As I said, I want to make sure that people are reflective and know, again, this affirmation that you see right here, Wimsa, right here. I don't know what the camera, whatever that is my personal affirmation, but it's also what I want this show to be about. Because again, it's the step process of taking our life back and taking what this universe has given us. This whole shutdown I think is another test. Because as you can see, there's so many things going on, and not making excuses. Be kinder. Realize how precious life is. It can be gone from you within a blink of an eye. But I know
all the people that passed, like, dropped like flies in 2020.
You know, I'm still, I had my battle with Miss Rona at the end of the year, beginning, baby. But I told her, I said, baby, you got to go. I was able and lucky from the 31st to the 6th. I had me and her fought. But again, I said, well, girl, I got to get on this bus to Vegas on the 10th.
Right.
So I need you to do what you got to do so
Right.
I could continue. And then it again made me more grateful on my 18th birthday, not my birthday on the 18th.
I say, okay.
My
1842,
birthday.
18. I got you. Cool.
Right. Oh no, I'm proud to be 42 because I know 42 bitches that did not make it. So I am always going to be proud of my age. But that just gave me another step in my pep to say thank you for allowing me to be, because I can go to bed at night no matter what. And it hurts. It's hurtful what people think, what they say, but I can't control that. I can't control how you see me, what you think about me, but I know when I go to bed and I lay my head down at night, I'm a good person. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful because that day before there were 86,400 seconds that I know somebody did not have in that day.
Right.
So I'm grateful. And I don't care if you see it. I know what goes on in my heart.
Right.
So, with that being said, Dolly, I want to know what's next for you with the film. Again, and sometimes you have to stay because we're so busy in the things that we're doing, and we don't like. Have you really sat back and say, bitch, I'm on Amazon Prime?
Yeah. So, yeah, when it first came, it was supposed to drop on Halloween. And then it came out a couple of days before Halloween. So, Hollywood Unlocked had posted it.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah, they did like 3 posts. They did a live, and so you can probably scroll down during October, like 26th, 7th, and they had posted it. And it got, like, a whole bunch of thousands of views or whatever. But then people were like, oh, this movie is great on Amazon. I don't like it. It's bootleg. And like, these people don't understand it or whatever. I was like, what the heck? And I was like, huh? And I was like, it's on Amazon. I could just tell people to go to Amazon to watch my movie. And it has a little check mark. And I was like, dang. So before I realized it was on Amazon, I realized that it was done. Like, my movie is finished. I just broke down and started crying. I said, it's done. It was so hard. It was hard. Like, some of those films where you see, like, me having the camera here and I go to the living room, those were separate days. I had to match the lighting. I had to find out the transition to make it all like, because you can't.
See, now I'm going to look at that part again.
Yeah. So now
number 4. I'll be number 4.
Yeah. So you just can't say action. Okay, cut, next scene. Like, these are the part I had to strategically, like, okay, the comment, there were no comments there. I had to memorize the comments of the script, like, and talk back to the computer, find my eye line.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm just glad that it's over. Me firing one of the main characters, like Roxy was new, my best friend. She came last minute and learned her lines within 2 days.
Oh, wow.
I had a whole nother Roxy that tried to come in and run my whole set and try to rearrange everything. I'm like, oh, we need to put these props here. I'm like, this is a starving student apartment. Like, it can't be high fashion, bringing in props and stuff, like big mirrors. I'm like, this is a regular apartment in Hollywood. It needs to look raw. You never saw a movie with no furniture? Have you ever saw a room? There was stuff in one location. There was nothing but mattress on the floor and the kid. You know what I mean? Like, this is my vision. Respect it. This is what I want to do. This is my,
I hired you. You didn't hire me.
He was my friend. So that's the thing. I hired my friend. That's a lesson that I learned. Hiring my friends, and they treat me like a friend. On the set, like, oh, I can't make it. I had to go vote. I'm like, well, you could have told me you was gonna go vote, because I asked everybody, and everybody's call time was this time. So now I have to pay everybody overtime. Like, So hiring my friends, I learned my lesson on that. That's the biggest lesson. But yeah, I did step up, like, damn, I'm moving Amazon Prime, and now it's gonna elevate. And I can't tell you guys what I'm working on now. This May, I think I told you. No, you didn't even hear the good news. I'll tell you when we get out this call.
Okay.
I had some great news yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna be working on the sitcom now. Yeah.
And then we have a follow-up. We have a follow-up in a couple of months too for the other thing, remember?
Yes, we do. We got a follow-up. So yeah.
Yes.
I'm just happy that people perceived and people understood my vision. That was the most scariest part, because I'm so used to doing everything high quality. I was like, I want people to understand what type of texture and art I'm putting on this. Like, it needs, like, if they saw Paranormal Activity, they should get it. Or if they saw Blair Witch, they'll get it. And I'm like, some people they're so used to watching all this HD stuff, they just couldn't, like, sit through it, which is fine. I can't sit through anything bootleg, but I made sure my audio and my lighting and everything else that was supposed to be real was right. That's what I don't play with.
Right. And that's another thing is that this environment that we're living in, everything is so like the time frame. Oh, it's not 15 minutes. Like we have all these quick stories and stuff like that. I'm old school, so I like watching a story and like knowing that I have to be engulfed, and that again from the actor and the potential filmmaker is like, okay, I see things in different layers. Like when I love a movie, I literally watch it a few times because I want to see it as the person watching it. And then I when DVDs came out, I was in love because I would always watch the behind the scenes. That is like my favorite thing to watch. I'll tell you what's so funny. When Cinderella with Brandy came on Disney Plus the last couple of weeks ago, I went to watch it, and then I saw that the interview or the extra featurette that Bernadette Peters did was not on there. So I said, "Oh, baby, I'm not worried about you. I pulled it out from my collection." And
Right.
why? Because I always told myself when I grew up, I wanted to have my own library of books and I want to have my own library of movies. And again, DVDs give you that option of going behind the scenes and seeing how things are made.
Right.
And as an entertainer, we should all be versed in knowing how to work behind the cameras as well as work in front of the cameras, because you never know. And people see that. And you already know, Dolly. People's like, okay, one take. Let's get this. When they see that that's the kind of artist you are, they want to
Right.
continue because you're not wasting money. I don't know
Right.
direction. If they say cheat, okay, I know what cheating means. I need to stand this way so the
Right.
camera can hit me. You can't call yourself an artist if you don't know those simple things. And if you don't
Right.
know them, take the time, learn terminology, learn what bastard amber lighting is for a person of
Oh my
color.
God. So listen, I work on sets with like new heads, old heads, and everybody has so much new lingo. I'm like, what is this? What is this? So I'm always learning, but it's basics that people should know as an artist. Like, you know what I mean? If I tell you I need this 60, this, you know what I mean? You need just 60 this shot. You need to know what it is as a director talking to you as a DP. Like, I get it, but it's some stuff that you're right. People should just automatically understand. It's
Right.
like you ain't no artist if you like, what's the
And
count? What's the two shot? Like, first of all, you're fired and you're gonna waste my time.
right. And I will say, and I say this all the time, and I learned this from my grandfather and other people before. When you're early, you're on time. And when you're on time, you're late. That is something that people will see when you come. If you beat the crew there sometime,
Right.
that's a good, they'll be like, oh, this person is okay. I ain't got to worry.
You
I ain't
were
got to chase
early
it.
for the other set.
Hello. And Dolly, you know, I'm on the bus.
Yeah.
I don't, baby, I'm Olita Adams. I don't care how I get there. I get there if I can. Baby, we're all the way in Venice. So I know I give myself enough time. I've never been, no, let me say never. I've hardly ever been late for a gig. And if I am, it's because something else with the traffic. But like I give myself, I do things in hours. So if I have to be somewhere at 9, I start getting dressed from 7 to 8. I'm dressing from 8 to 9 and a few minutes early. Again, those are things that get you noticed and will get you called back to gigs. They'll be like, "Oh, this person is serious." And I'm not costing you money because you know what it's like to have to, you know what it's like to be on set as well as to be an AD. You have to call your extras. Where's this person? Where's this person? All that stuff. You can cut all that
They
out, baby.
have the biggest jobs. People have no idea. I was this last film that I worked on. I was director, and there was no first or second AD.
No, ma'am.
Imagine,
No, ma'am.
imagine, imagine that.
Wow. And you dealing directly with the people.
Directly, I'm like, what the heck? And I gotta think of all these shots and shot lists to get these things, these lighting things to do with the freaking DP.
Because you were doing a lot on the YouTube video. You make sure we got our timesheets done. You were
Yeah.
making sure that this was over there.
Make sure y'all got paid. Make sure y'all were treated nice and got on set on time. Did y'all schedules? I had to do all
Wardrobe,
that.
everything. Remember they was driving us around in them little golf carts.
Yes, had to plan that. Walking
Right.
out. That was a big set though. That budget was pretty big, but yeah.
I never did see the finished project, so I would love to
They
see.
said it was gonna come out in 2020, but all the stuff you know how many films got pushed back because of 2020?
Right, because that was 2019. Yeah.
It was so they said it was gonna come back and come out in 2020 and it didn't. So I can contact I think Clyde got me that job, so I can contact Clyde. I
Okay.
actually talked to him today. I actually asked him some rates for some first ACs. But yeah, I talked to him today. I can ask him and I'll keep you posted on it.
Okay, yeah, because I had a good time. The music and everything, and then the different shots. And again, you know these things. Don't, I'm gonna tell you another thing. When you go on set, don't expect it to be in and out. It's never hardly going to be in and out. You're gonna do the same scene 7 times. You're gonna have to memorize what you were doing, where your foot is, and all that kind of stuff. Those are things artists do.
That's
Learn it, and then again, if
it.
you're not a person that doesn't like to learn, then be prepared to do shit yourself, because you're gonna have to go through that before you get to that place. Have that resistance and knowing what it is.
Never go on set asking one of the directors or the PAs, what time is set gonna be done? They'll never hire you again.
Oh, baby. Before you know it, they'll be saying, "Can you come here for a quick second, please?"
Yeah, you know how many people have to let go? I was like, oh shit, I gotta fire them. I gotta sign you out. I just started saying, hey, can I sign you? I'm gonna go ahead and sign you out, not knowing that they getting fired and sent home. So it was a certain way I'm gonna go ahead and sign you out. I think your part is wrapped. And then like, oh, I was fired. I'm like, yeah, put their time sheet in there. They put me through some positions, boy. Let me tell you, being a woman on the director's team, especially working with Ariana Grande, that was like, her stylist kept having to walk around set with no shoes. And I'm like, hey, she can't walk on my set with no shoes on. She ended up cutting her foot. His name was Law Roach, and he cursed me out.
Oh, baby, you worked with Law Roach?
Yes, for Ariana Grande. I was on the director's team for Ariana Grande.
You know, did you see Legendary?
I don't know who that is.
No, it was a show on HBO Max. He's one of the judges on. Oh, we got to talk after this. We got to talk.
We do. I cannot sing, but anyway, they let her go. And he came and said, "Like, you don't talk to her like that." He went off on me, and I was just standing looking at him like this. The next day they came and said, "Like, you gotta leave." Her auntie. They was like Ariana Grande, her mom. It was her first video that she did with her money, without the label. And they brought ice cream trucks. They treated us so nice, and he had such a nasty attitude. Honey, they went off on him. That's why I got respect for those people. They did not like how he talked to me, and they heard about it. I said, I love you, Ariana.
Right.
I love you. But he was talking to me, and after I said she can't walk around a set. So I don't know if you saw the video. I just wanna
I know some of her music, but not all of it.
Ain't got no to left to cry. I'm picking them up anyway. So it's a hit. It's a big song, right? So it was this big thing that this whole set built. They built this whole thing, this room that turned around, and it was popping and cracking. I was like, I don't want her to cut her foot. Anyway, I say, don't let her walk the set. Give her some flip-flops. So me, as on the director team, I'm not supposed to be going to her trailer and getting her house shoes. I didn't. I said, you need to make sure she has shoes. She walked around barefoot, what she likes to do, fine. This girl cut her foot open. And I said, so you know she cut her foot open. Well, and I'm just like this.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We gonna talk, because I got some Lipton tea for you afterwards.
I'll pour me another drink.
Right. But to wrap everything up, Dolly, again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Excited to be able to support you. Again, we've talked about the movie, you know, The Industry Did It. They can find it on Amazon Prime. What other projects are you working on, and where can they find anything that you're working on or doing right now?
Okay, so right now you guys can catch The Industry Did It on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Buckle your seatbelts.
Baby.
It's a really great movie. Watch it. It's a psychological thriller. I played Melina in S&M Sally. That's also on Amazon Prime. I did a movie with Nick Cannon. I played his mistress. Look on my IMDb, Dolly Gray, imdb.com/Dolly Gray. So the movie I did with Nick Cannon, they'll let you know when that movie is released. Of course, I'm in Straight Outta Compton. So I just did so much stuff. I'm working on a clothing line right now, or lingerie line. It's called Lingerie by Dolly Gray. That's going to be dropping in May.
All right.
And working on a film right now called Into the Park. It's a horror film. My son's actually the star in that film.
Oh.
And I'm working on managing him. And this sitcom, and it's my dream sitcom, and I'm excited. I can't really. I'm locked in.
I got you.
I can't really say much right now.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot I'm working on. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Well, thank you again, Dolly Gray. It was good reconnecting and talking with you. Thank you for your time. And thank you everyone for watching and listening. Again, I want to remind everyone, at the end of the day, there are 86,400 seconds. What you do with those is up to you. Use them wisely, use them earnestly, and be honest above all else. Until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed day and or evening. I'll catch y'all later. Adios. Bye. We got to talk afterwards.
All right, we will.
Yes. Thank you, Dolly.
All right. Have a good one.